Hello and welcome. This is an instructional video for HAZE Islands, a 1 to 3 pirate adventure card game. Formerly released as a free print and play game, it's now going to be published on December 2nd, 2017 at the Tokyo Game Market. Today I am showing you the prototype of that game, this fancy box, as well as it'll have two rule books, one in English, one in Japanese, full color, illustrated, 28-page rule book. As I show you the components, I'm going to set up for a two-player game. You can play this game solo, which is quite good, and with 2 or 3 players, competitively, cooperatively, or as a friendly game. These are the map cards. They get given to the first player, and the cursed cards and high C cards, they get placed in the discard pile over here. In the game there are also many adventures to be had. There are single icon adventures, which are easier to complete because they only require one icon, but they also give you less points. They only give you 1 point, as opposed to a double icon adventure, which costs 2 icons to complete but gives you 2 points, as well as a special order which you can use during the game. When you use a special order, you do lose a point. It goes from 2 points to 1 point after using them. Adventure cards are placed here. Next, in this game you are being trailed by an omnibus creature called the Doom, and these cards represent the Doom's health. There we go. The Doom requires spells to be defeated. These spells are Fireball, Whirlpool, and Hurricane. So these are quite attractive icons to have. These cards get placed there, and players choose their ship color. These pieces have been borrowed from another game. 3 cubes to represent the pirates, and the first player gives 1 card to form the second player's draw deck. What's very different about this game is that the way the cards move around the table. Cards move from the first player's deck to the second player, from the second player to the third, if there was one, and from the last player to the discard pile. The cards represent time, as well as many other things, and everyone should have roughly the same amount of time, the same amount of cards to do the actions and take their turn in this pirate adventure. To start the game, we need a starting location, Dragon Island, with an adventure card. The adventure card goes underneath and forms a square. They're always showing the double icon adventure at the top. Players place their ships, and the Doom, represented by a dice, starting at a very weak 1, is placed on the same location. As the rounds progress, the Doom gets stronger, and on the 6th round, the Doom will be at its strongest, and that will conclude the game. The goal of the game is to get as many icons as you can from completing adventures and attacking the Doom. If you are not a big fan of reading rulebooks, you can skip ahead to page 26 and read the quick start guide, which advises you to play a 6-round game. And on the first round, Scout, which has the first action that we are going to describe right now. Scout is when you explore the surrounding areas. First you choose a direction you want to travel in. You draw a card from your map deck and you place it with the bottom of the card next to your current location. Then you draw an adventure card and you tuck it underneath to form a new location. And that's the end of their turn. The second player is going to take their turn, and as this game indicates, on page 8 you can take an action which the first player just did. You can discard a card and pass, or you can simply pass, providing you do not have the most map deck cards. At the moment, the second player, the purple player, only has one map deck card, so they can pass without the need to discard. The yellow player is going to take their turn and scout in another direction and add another adventure card there. It's good to see what's coming next. Sometimes the icons line up like this. Okay. The purple player still doesn't have enough cards to take any important actions. They are going to pass. So it's the yellow player's turn again. They're going to scout one more time and place a card here and place a map card underneath it. And as you can see, it's time to start gathering the icons you need to complete these adventures. The hurricane icon appears twice, so that could be something to aim for. The second player decides to deploy a pirate. There are two ways you can acquire the icons you need to complete adventures. They are deploy or raid. We'll do deploy first. Deploying means you spend a card to place one of your pirates on a location's icon, so that then at a later point in the game you may use it to complete an adventure which may be a little bit further away. In a way, it's a resource you can use later on. And that's the end of the purple player's turn. It's going to be the yellow player's turn. They are going to raid. This is the other way you can acquire cards. You'll spend you'll draw 2 cards because the raid number indicates 2. You'll look at those cards and you will choose one of them. Now the map token is required over here, and the fireball token could be used for this. I think it's also available there, so I think they're going to take the map card. The map card goes in hand and the other card is discarded. Only the first player knows what that is. The second player, not knowing what it is, they decide to pass. So because they only have one card, they can't raid because they don't have enough cards. They can't sail because it requires 2 cards to move to a different location. And that is just what the yellow player is going to do. They're going to sail. Sailing is the action where you move from one location to another. To sail from here to here, you can see there are 2 diamonds connecting these locations. The yellow player has to discard 2 cards from the top of their map deck to the next player's map deck to move to that location. That's the end of their turn. Now that the second player, the purple player, has some cards, they can maybe raid. Let's see what these are. Excellent. They find a whirlpool. They'll keep this card and try and attack the Doom. This card is discarded. The yellow player needs a hurricane to complete that mission, so they're going to raid 2 cards. They don't find it, unfortunately, so that goes in there. And this one gets discarded. The second player is going to pass, so the yellow player gets another turn. And what do you know? They found a hurricane, so they'll stack that in there and discard this card. The purple player is going to pass, and the yellow player is going to complete an adventure. To do so, they first of all spend a card to represent the time it takes to complete this regatta. Then they use their trustworthy map and their hurricane and they place it any order they like on top of the next player's draw deck, having revealed what it is. So the purple player knows what's there, and that's exactly the card they need. The yellow player completes the adventure, takes it, places it in front of them, and forms their captain's log. This will record the number of points they have. The purple player's turn now. They know that the hurricane is in here. They're going to raid. They indeed find it, they keep it, and discard the other card. The first player doesn't have as many cards. They do. Oh, they have to the same. Okay, it has to take a turn. So they will raid, and they find perhaps this one. We'll see. There's the map there. There's the fireball there. Let's take the octopus just in case. This one gets discarded. So now the purple player gets a chance to attack the Doom. And to attack either a player or the Doom, you need to reveal your fate. To do so, you draw your map card from your deck, you turn it around, you choose a corner, and you reveal that corner. Save. Had the skull been revealed, the action would have been unsuccessful. But since it wasn't, the attack can take place. This card is discarded. And now the purple player needs to pay 1 hurricane, 1 whirlpool, and 1 icon, which could be either fire, fireballs, hurricanes, or whirlpool. And they spend fireballs by returning the pirate which they deployed earlier on a fireball icon. Then they take the Doom card and place it in front of them to represent their captain's log. What a way to start the adventure, going straight for the Doom. So at this point, the yellow player has 2 points and the purple player has 3 points. And the first player doesn't have much to do. They're going to raid because they have 2 cards. That's exactly what's over there. So they will take this one, a card they don't have, and this gets discarded. The purple player is with the Doom, and knowing what's going to happen, the Doom is going to get stronger and attack another player. And first of all, they're going to deploy a pirate because when they sail to this location, say it's their turn again, spend 3 cards to get there, and they discard the last card because there's not much to do. Okay, so when the last map card has been discarded, the round comes to an end. At the end of the round, certain things happen. If this wasn't the first round, there might be a single icon adventure from a previous round. Single icon adventures are flipped over to reveal an empty sea, which opens up a new direction for scouting and sailing. In the first round, all the adventure icons should be a double icon adventure. These adventures now are finished and new adventures appear, but they're not as difficult, not as grandiose. Once the adventures have been downgraded, the Doom prepares to attack. First of all, it grows in strength. So on the first round, 2, on the second round, 3, and so on, and on the 6th round, 7. That indicates the power the Doom has to move and attack. First you establish which is the closest player. The purple player is 3 diamonds away, the yellow player 2, it's going to head towards the yellow player. It spends 2 powers to get there, and when it arrives, it has no more power to attack the yellow player. Had this been a 3, it would spend 2 to move there and attack the yellow player for 1 damage, which would take away one of their crew members as they bravely defended the ship. If the yellow player had no cubes to lose, they would become a ghost ship. And there's rules for that in the book. Should a player attack a player and defeat them completely, they become a castaway. And again, there's rules for that in the book. The last thing we do is to add new adventures to locations that have already had their adventures completed. This is a new dawn. And finally, the map card from the discard pile, including the curse cards, are thoroughly shuffled and placed on the next player's draw deck. They are now the first player. They give one card to each other player to form their draw deck, as it was in the beginning of the game. The first player will give cards to the next player in clockwise order, and they will then discard if they're the last player, just like before. And it's the beginning of the second round. As you remember, we deployed a pirate on a fireball icon because we knew that later on this card would turn and become an adventure which required fireballs. So right off the bat, the first player is going to do that. They're going to spend one card to complete an action, to complete an adventure for which they need fireballs. This is an unfriendly port. What better way to get revenge than with fireballs? The card is taken and placed in their captain's log, and now they have 4 points and the yellow player only has 3. The game continues in this manner until either both of the ships have been destroyed by the doom and no player survives, or if the doom is completely defeated, the game ends at that point. If the adventure cards run out, the game immediately turns to round 6. It's the 6th and final round. At the end of the 6th round, if there are any players surviving, the surviving player, not ghost ship or castaway, with the most icons in their captain's log is the winner, and they tell their pirate adventure in 1 minute or less. So in this video we talked about scouting, which is creating new locations, sailing across diamonds to those locations, raiding using the number to get cards in your hand, deploying pirates to then use later on, completing adventures, and finally attacking the doom, successfully in this case. And that's HAZE Islands. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.